We're about to kick off our fourth top producers panel with YPN at NSBAR, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We appreciate you so much. So let's begin. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our fourth top producers panel with YPN at NSBAR. We are so excited to have all of you here with us today to talk about the real estate market, what's going on in each of our own little worlds. It's awesome to have these conversations, and it's always a really good time. I'm Heather RIzzo. I am the Illinois Managing Broker at Worth Clark Realty and also chair of the YPN board at committee at NSBAR. I'll be moderating today, and Ethan Nagar is with me also moderating. He's with Jameson Sotheby's, and he's also on the YPN committee. So thanks for being here also, Ethan.
Thank you, Heather.
So we're going to get started today just by introducing our panelists. Like I said, I'm just so excited to have all of you here. Our first panelist that I'm going to introduce today is Rafay Qamar. Rafay has actually been on one of our panels before, so thank you for being here. Rafay comes to Chicagoland from a family of international real estate practitioners, providing him with a dedicated understanding of the effect the global and domestic economy has had on the Chicagoland market. Rafay graduated from DePaul University in Chicago with degrees in business administration and finance and holds a Six Sigma certification. Rafay easily translated his personal commitment for excellence into the real estate industry after 7 years of a finance and banking background, making him the go-to professional. He's owned and operated 2 RE/MAX brokerages with combined 40 plus brokers, winner of the Best Dressed of Chicago Agent magazine, 2020, featured in Chicago Agent Magazine Who's Who 2017 through 2020, and Top Agent Magazine 2017. Rafay is known for his magnetic personality, ethical practices, his pocket squares, and a wide range of real estate knowledge, maintaining a high-profile clientele that includes some of the most successful developers, business people, and celebrities. Whether you're an experienced investor, seller, or first-time homebuyer, Rafay is here to help you navigate through every step of the way. Thanks for being here today.
Wow, it's quite an introduction. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me again.
All right, everybody, now I'm going to introduce Kelly Rynes. Thank you for coming, Kelly. In 2002, Kelly used her economics degree to launch herself into the real estate industry and hasn't looked back. For over a decade, she's assisted in servicing and selling properties for corporate sellers and investor groups with incredible success. As a senior manager of a real estate team, she's assisting in closing thousands of homes. Kelly joined Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Chicago and went on to be a top producer on a North Shore team. Most recently, she founded Chicago to the North Shore. Kelly's expertise truly extends from Chicago to the North Shore, and this has always been home. As a powerhouse of local knowledge and experience, she has built a reputation of being an essential resource among her loyal clients. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay, our next panelist we have is Neil Williams. Thanks for being here, Neil. Neil is an experienced real estate broker whose wide-ranging skills and experience allow him to provide customers with a high level of service and satisfaction. In an industry saturated with competition, it's Neil's attention to the monetary details and his ability to identify and deliver to his clients the most important interest that distinguishes him from his peers. His clients continue to be impressed with his communication and follow-up. Neil is a graduate of Cornell University's Hotel School of Management and Lake Forest Graduate School of Management. Prior to his career in real estate, Neil was in the hospitality industry, and some of the high-profile events that Neil was managing during that time is the 2002 Winter Olympics, the Kentucky Derby, the Breeders' Cup, World Series, and Grand National in England. I didn't know that about you. That's impressive. Neil is no stranger to managing multiple tasks and people in order to obtain a desired result. He's an active member of the Village of Cary and is currently a commissioner on the Board of Zoning, Planning, and Appeals for the Village. He's also a mentor for which is Youth Entrepreneurs Academy, which helps young students develop ideas into actual business plans. In addition to real estate, Neil has taught various classes as an adjunct teacher at Kendall College and McHenry County College, Some of the classes include cost control analysis and strategic business management. Teaching these specific subjects allows him to deliver financial and strategic outcomes based on his clients' needs and wants. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Heather.
And last but not least, we're going to be introducing Sara Brahm. After a successful 10-year career in sales and technology, she began her career in real estate. With her extensive sales and client services background, it was an easy fit. Clients rely on her unique blend of experience, market knowledge, marketing, and negotiating skills, and embrace of the latest technological trends. Since 2013, she has been ranked #1 in the Winnetka office in volume in 2019. She was recognized, honored to be part of NSBAR's top 1% by residential sales volume. Additionally, she is a member of the Founders Club of Baird and Warner, which only the top 1% of the company are given this designation. Sara feels very fortunate to have so many wonderful clients, friends, and family who support her business. Sara has lived in Wilmette since 2006 and is president of Trinity Community Nursery School, an active member of the Central Elementary School PTA, and currently serves on the Parent Advisory Board for FC United Soccer Club. Thank you, Sara.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys are all awesome. We've established that. So let's jump right on in with our questions. We're going to start, our first question off is, what types of strategies are you willing to use, are you using in a multiple bid situation with your buyer clients to help them win the property?
I can get started here. So as some of you know, run a large team. We're pretty buyer focused, pretty buyer heavy. Run a team of 21 brokers, and we're putting in about anywhere from 8 to 10 contracts on a daily basis. Needless to say, we're running into a lot of multiple offer situations. And what I've prepared for my team members is a 10-step sort of guide, I guess. It's very frustrating when you have clients that are willing, able, ready to go, they're qualified, but they're still getting bid out, or dealing with these multiple offer situations. So the point number one is you got to know your market. You got to understand what's out there truly to be able to educate your client. Inventory, lack of inventory, whatever that is, understanding really what the market is. That's step number one. You got to understand when you're writing an offer, learn and understand a little bit about the market. So you know where to kind of start, where to come in at. Is the list price below market value? Is the list price way overpriced? This is where your clients are relying on you heavily. Number two, come in when there's a highest and best requested. Come in highest and best. There's a misconception out there that even a highest and best is being asked for. People still start low because they want to have some room for negotiation. When a listing agent or seller is requesting highest and best, make sure that they are putting the final offer out there because there's no more room for negotiation. That's how I sort of prepare and discuss with my clients. Have all the financial ducks in a row. Make sure that the pre-approval, not a pre-qualification, everything is in place already as of this time. You don't want to be going and running and trying to get your lender to kind of give you a pre-approval at this time. It needs to be with the packet. A few things that we normally do is we reach out to the listing agent, of course, and we ask them, what is the seller's time frame? In this environment right now where there's lack of inventory, the sellers are truly looking for the highest offer, but not the highest offer. That's not the only thing they're looking for. So if you can understand what sort of time frame they have, I think it's very beneficial, because in this market, what we're seeing is sellers are selling the place, they're getting multiple offers, but a lot of times they don't have a place to go to. So if you can be a little bit more flexible and understand their timeline and keep it a little open or flexible, I think that can do wonders. Point number 5, come in with a very, very strong earnest money amount. I can't believe some brokers start $1,000 or $2,000 on a $600,000 purchase, and then they have a second installment of earnest money after AI. Start strong. Come in 10,000 or whatever the number is. Again, have that dialogue with your clients and understand. Keep the offer clean. If you can market as is, if you can waive the contingencies, particularly home sale in this scenario, some of those are very helpful. Not asking for extras. In this case, a lot of people are like, hey, throw in this, throw in that. Keep it clean. Negotiate the furniture and all that stuff later on. And last, and my favorite one, is escalation clause. I think a lot of people know. if you haven't taken ABR, I would recommend all the new agents to get their ABR designation. Stands for accredited buyer representative. One thing they talk about is the escalation clause. For people who don't know that, you have a base offer, and then you put in certain amount over the highest bona fide offer up to a certain mark. So this is another sure way for your clients to say that, listen, I'm willing to go in as high as this X number. After that, this is not worth it for me. So you can throw that on escalation clause and then secure your clients. So those are some of the strategies that we use on a daily basis to win multiple offer situation. It's been pretty helpful for us.
Yeah, one of the biggest, go ahead, Sarah, please.
I love the idea of the escalation clause. I just had a buyer and a multiple win on that amount, on that process. But we're seeing more and more agents say they're not allowing escalation clauses, which has been difficult. So what I say is if the agent hasn't specifically said we're having best and final and no escalation clause, don't ask, because your answer could be no. Just go ahead and write it up with an escalation clause, and then they can come back and tell you, no, we're not allowing that, or come in with your best number.
Yeah. The other thing I really got from what you said too, that I think is important, is communicating, right? Like you're asking, what does the seller want? Is there something that they need? What's their timeline? All of that. So you're kind of getting ahead and, really representing your buyers well. So thank you.
Yeah, one other point, sorry about that. It's been really challenging because the market has gone so high so fast to really manage expectations. So really knowing the market, or things that have gone under contract in February and March are now closing. So in our marketplace, we're actually seeing things that are closing $100,000 over the list price, which is unheard of. So know that, or talk to agents or the listing agent. If you lost a multiple offer, can you give me any sort of information or indication of where it went? That'll just help you be a little bit more knowledgeable down the road.
Awesome. The next question is, how are you advising your sellers in this market of multiple offers? What types of strategies do you recommend they consider?
I can jump on that one. So if you're trying to get multiple offers for your client, the first step would be not to overshoot the list price. So if that's your strategy, you still want to come out really attractive to the marketplace and really compelling to the marketplace. So I think it even starts before the strategy starts before you even go live. And then once you do go live, get the activity, it starts to look like a multiple offer situation. Again, clear communication to all interested parties. A highest and best is usually a strategy I follow. A very clear, a distinct day, a distinct time, all offers are due. And then I usually put together a spreadsheet for my sellers because yes, we all go right to the price. Anytime one of us gets an offer in our inbox, what do? We scroll to the list price, the purchase price line, but there's so much more than just that, as we all know. And so putting together a spreadsheet for my seller to really break it down. Sometimes when you have 8 offers, there's a lot of terms to discuss with a lot of various different buyers. So putting together a very concise, organized report to go through with your sellers so they feel comfortable as you feel comfortable. And to that point, evaluating financing, right? Because loan to value differences make a big difference, as well as that's a good time to talk about appraisals and appraisal contingencies. And at that point, you want to talk about, did these buyers overshoot? And then the house isn't going to appraise. And what does that look like, 30 days into your transaction? So having those hard conversations up front. I've also been known to call some of these lenders. We all have kind of our go-to lenders that we like when we're working with buyers that we feel comfortable referring out. But when you're representing the seller, you have a little bit less control over that. And so, calling some of these smaller lenders, making sure that they can meet the timelines that are stated in the contract, making sure the buyer's qualified, doing a little bit of homework on that end. Talking to your sellers about close date, if they want to have an estate sale, how realistic is it that they get out, on the proposed close date. going through things such as inspection and as is, what that means, what that looks like, and maybe how much value there is in terms of as is, and that terms do have a financial value at the back end. Coming off of what we were just talking about, escalation riders, explaining to sellers how those work. And then just looking for little differences that can edge someone out. I had someone over the weekend put in tax proration of 100% as opposed to the 105 or 110 that we normally see. So those little details that really can put one buyer ahead of the other. And just explaining how all the terms carry substantial weight.
Can I add something, Kelly? That was awesome. What about, have you guys seen when you're advising your sellers about the PLN or going live, just straight on live? Because I think right now with the market, I'm trying to see what the advantages are of doing it on the PLN versus just going live on the MLS. You guys have seen any issues with that?
I personally hate the PLN right now. I think it's just creating so much drama, and I don't think it's great for the consumer right now, because you've got all these pocket listings and you've got to be on Zenlist in order to get to the PLN, but now you can send it via the MLS, and Compass isn't on Zenlist. It's created such a, I think, a struggle with just getting the word out. And it is a seller's market. I mean, I would say get the photos, get ready to go and go live. There's really no reason right now other than getting it staged, photos, floor plans. I totally understand that. Creating a bit of a buzz, for a few days and then hit the market. And then I think once it hits the market, it needs to actually hit the market and not be contingent in the PLN and things like that. So that's a whole nother thing. But I agree.
Sure.
I think it's been really tricky to navigate the new PLN and kind of what it's become.
I agree with you.
So I take a little different strategy. For me, PLN is my value prop. We've got, I think, about 57 listings right now, and about 15 of them are on PLN. When I'm sitting down with my clients, that's my value prop right there. That, listen, it is going on PLN today. So that helps me actually get the document signed immediately. And again, like you said, yes, it does create a little sort of havoc, and necessarily people can't really schedule showings. But while we're getting the photos done, while we're getting the property staged, we're not missing out any market time. Like you all said, it is seller's market. So if I can get them a contract within 48 hours or 72 hours, I think that's very powerful. And for me, it's more of a marketing strategy personally to get the listing than to actually market the listing. So that's just more of a broker, I guess, secret, if that for us that helps us out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, great.
I don't think there's any issue with getting it signed and going on the PLN for a few days, but I think that's what it should be used for. And then you need to go live with it.
Totally.
I think some brokers, though, they've been on for like 3 weeks, and you're like, what's and then nobody can access the home. Everybody's hounding every day to go see it. And
yeah, see, that doesn't make sense, because 96% of buyers will start their search online. Again, if you don't have it on the ether, out there in the ether, and it's not on portals, it's not actually doing justice to your client. So the only way it makes actually sense is while it's being prepped, the photos are being taken, you're throwing it out there so you get a little bit more exposure and create some buyer excitement.
100%.
Yeah, I think it worked better before the market. The idea was prior to this current market. It maybe works better. Agreed.
Awesome. And I just wanted to circle back to your initial answer, Kelly. I thought that was really awesome how you set up a presentation of all the different offers to your sellers and really set them up for success. And what you said is right. People, they scroll all the way down to what's the price, what's the offer. But as we know, the contracts are so complex, and it's really doing a disservice to your client if you're not fully explaining that to them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about a little bit about mindset. So the next question here is, what personal habits or rituals help you to stay focused, and how important do you think mindset is, and how has it played into your success?
I'll jump on that one. I think there's two different ways to look at mindset. There's your professional mindset, which, is your rituals, your day-to-day. Like when I wake up, what is your routine? Are you checking all your Zen lists or whatever things you have going on popping up. All right, what has changed? Because I know right now a lot of us are working until the wee hours of the night, and things are. I'm constantly hearing the dings go off of like updates and people putting things on either private or MLS. So always being aware. So every morning checking, going over clients' needs, especially in this market, is one of my biggest ones, because in this, I call it an on-demand market right now, because if something hits and you have to see it, you have to have 1 out of 2 buyers there maybe to check it out. So for me, that ritual professionally is checking my clients' needs every morning and touching with them, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call in the morning, just to make sure we're on the same page and we're ready to go if something does pop up in this market. But even more importantly too, I think the mindset, especially with a lot of agents I've talked to, is just kind of having the work-life balance mindset right now, because we are going like crazy. I hope, I'm assuming that a lot of us in this market are. And I think it's important that it can get really, if you let it wind you up, if the roller coaster winds you up, you have to be able to like put the phone down for a little bit, whether you have family, friends, or whatever that is, to kind of decompress. And because to me, that's what's important to me right now, is making sure that I'm doing that, because I could literally have my phone on my hand and my computer on and keep working all the time. But I don't think that's healthy. So mindset wise, making sure you're knowing what your clients are doing, where they're at. And in this market, whether that's, if they can't find a place, are you expanding? Are you trying to find more? And again, we can touch upon, how to find places, but my mindset is, and rituals, wake up in the morning, touch base with all my clients that are, the buyers that are looking to, because right now everyone's looking, and they want to know that you're looking too. So if you're communicating with them every single day, then you're on top of it. And when something does pop, you'll be ready.
Yeah. And, like what you said, really, I think that comes down to just setting kind of some boundaries, right? Setting some boundaries for, I've known really successful agents to say, you know what, I don't even work Sundays. I'm with my family, or I just don't take calls after 8. As long as you prepare your clients for that and you're clear on who you are and what your boundaries are, then they can respect that, and we can keep our mental health.
Yeah, I think, Neil, well said. I think all those points are very important, and having work-life balance is important. But I think discipline and a routine is 90% of what will make you successful in this business. I truly believe that. There's a great book called Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. I think every single agent should read that. It's by Hal Elrod. Talks about SAVERS, and these are acronyms for kind of having a discipline in the morning. And SAVERS, just so people don't know, it stands for silence. When you wake up, have a little silence, and get your sort of the mental, get the right mindset. A is for affirmation. Have some sort of affirmation. What are you trying to accomplish? What is your mission? What is your goal for this business? V is for visualization. If you have a task list, visualize yourself going through that task list, crushing it. Actually visualize yourself being in a successful position. E is for exercise, of course, get the movement, get the blood flowing and everything. R is for reading. It's very important. I think we're students for life. A lot of people just stop. That's why I think designations are very important. I mentioned ABR. Everyone should do at least one designation or 2 designations every year. And then S is for scribing or journaling, which is also very important. Whatever you're learning throughout the day or the day before, it should all be on a journal. And your journal should look like an amortization chart. In the beginning, it should have a lot of negatives, very few positives. As time goes by, the negatives should start eliminating and should have a lot of positives. So I think having that sort of mindset and discipline and routine will only make things a lot easier, because if you get those things done before 8 a.m., the hardest things you've done already, it's only going to be easy from there on. So that's how my team operates.
I think that's super smart. It's easier said than done. And I'm still struggling with it myself. But I think when you are a healthier person, I think you attract success too, and people want to work with you. I've noticed, when I feel stressed, I'm putting that out to people, to my clients, to other realtors. When you're taking those calls, you can tell when you're talking to another realtor if he or she is really overwhelmed and not really listening to you. And that feeling, it penetrates to your clients as well. And so I think you're a better agent when you're just more present and healthier to that point. But I'm struggling with that too.
Awesome answers.
Not easy, by the way. Having
No.
discipline in life and having a routine is not easy.
No.
I'm a avid believer of having call blocks also. I struggle with it every day. I have to have it on my calendar, on my phone. I have to have written. I took them all down. I mean, the back wall is like, make your calls, so that kind of stuff. So it's tough.
Yeah, especially in this market where people like want you right now. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to, like that you've got to seize the moment or seize the opportunity, and you can't stick to your schedule and then it all goes haywire by 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
You just got to regroup and move forward.
100%.
All right, well, let's move on to the next question. Those are some really awesome answers. And the next question is, how do you set yourself apart from other agents in your marketing, listing presentations, and overall services offered?
I'll jump in on that one. I think first of all, there's so many great agents out there, and we all do a really great job, and we all just need to be true to ourselves and use our strengths to our advantage. I run more of a relationship-based business where I'm very client-focused, very client-centric. If I'm going in for a listing presentation, I want to be prepared. I want to know the market. I want to know what's out there and what might be coming on the market. I want to know market time. Even if you don't know what you're doing, sound like you know what you're doing. Know those stats of terms of where the market is today over last year. What's the market time? Go over your marketing plan. For me, if I'm listing a house, staging's a big deal. So not only recommending a stager, maybe you can do it yourself, or talk about painting, like maybe they need to neutralize the house, but go a step further and bring your painters in. I've got a whole group of contractors that I use a lot that I can say, we need to paint XYZ room. Let's bring these people in, kind of help manage that process. It's really overwhelming to list a home. And the more support you can provide, I think for me, that sets me apart. I've even had like clients' dogs in my bathroom during a broker open because they didn't know where they could go. So it's little things. I don't recommend doing that all the time, but sometimes you got to just be creative. And I think that helps me set myself apart.
Yeah, I think the relationship obviously is huge in our referral business, if you will. One of the things that I like to do is, and piggyback on what you said, is be a home resource, especially right now with the amount of people who are doing projects to their home, because right now it's not about just always whether they're selling or buying a home. It's people, our clients, who are like, oh, I'm thinking about remodeling. Well, great. How can you help me? Well, I have contractors, or I have this, or I have this service, or I can help you. And FYI, I wouldn't totally do what you're doing there just as maybe you don't spend, again, we all represent different homes, Kelly and Sarah and Rafay, but like if you have a $300,000 home, I don't think you should be spending $50,000 in your master bath. It might just not be a good time. So having that knowledge where your clients might not be selling. So, whether that's, they're buying or selling now, but maybe just keeping that information and being that resource for them is huge. So your relationship with them, as you said, Sarah, is important. I agree. Do it all the time.
And I think be the expert. They're hiring us to be the expert here. So there might be some tough conversations, but that's why they're hiring you to do that. You can't simply just let them, or at least try not to let them kind of lead the process. Like that's why they're paying you to do this, so that you can lead it and you can get the listing, do all the right things, get it listed, and get the most money at the least amount of time for your clients.
Awesome. All right, moving on to the next question. Go back to the beginning of your career. What did you do right? And conversely, what would you do differently?
I can answer that question. So I started in 2014. I I resigned from my banking job. Heather, you mentioned that in the intro. I was working at BMO Harris Bank as one of the top bankers nationwide in the US and Canada. I was working on the retail side, then helped with the mergers and the back end, and just didn't appreciate that very much. Wanted to be more entrepreneurial, so resigned and joined real estate, just cold turkey. Did not have any clients, did not have any contacts, did not go to high school here or any of that. So I think one thing that I did properly was just quit. I think there are too many brokers who test the waters first. And again, I always recommend have 6 to 7 months roughly, or half a year of savings. That's very critical. But if you're planning on doing this, then do it full time. There's a reason why 5% of brokers are selling 95% real estate. So one thing that I did was instantly I made a decision. I'm like, I'm going to map out, this is what my business plan is, and I'm going to do it full time. It is a full-time career. You cannot do it part-time. That's what we don't even hire anyone who's a part-time broker at this point. And again, we have a team of 21 people. We're on track to hit about $150 million. We already closed over 50 million year to date. So I will not bring in anyone who's a part-time broker. Second thing that I did right was have a vision statement, have a mission statement for your business. Run it like a corporation. And a lot of people are doing it like sole proprietor, and they're doing it part-time or whatever, so I think having a vision statement and mission statement, especially if you're planning on building a team, and I think we'll talk about that maybe later on, but it's very important that you have a knowledge and understanding of where you're headed to. Point number 3 is have like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 15 and a 20-year plan. A lot of people are doing it day to day. If I ask some brokers, like, well, what's your schedule? They wouldn't know what the goals are for next 6 months, let alone next 5 years or 10 years, 15 years. So we've gotten mapped out. We've got an org chart. We've got every single thing written down. And, I think hustle is the last one. You got to do it right. I mean, if you're doing it, I can sit in front of a computer and I can feel that I was the most, or at least unproductive person, or I can feel like the most productive person. So I guess having checklists and task lists and then following them is very, very important. And going back to the routine, it's very important. So you can break down your schedule throughout. Some of the mistakes I've made is I was all over the place initially. And again, I would sit in front of the computer, I'd work 9, 10, 15 hours, and I would feel like I didn't do anything that was productive. I'm sure some of you have been in the same position. So having broken down blocks of time, whether that's prospecting, following up, marketing, whatever that is, it's very important that you have that. And the last thing that I wish I would have known better or earlier is start with the market and be focused in that market and then spread out. I think a lot of times brokers will just go from Schaumburg to Chicago to Elgin and all over the place. I think the best way of having local market knowledge and being known in a community is just be local and then spread out. That's where you can build in a team and bring in some other associates that are experts in their markets and then expand that way. It's, I believe, impossible for you to know every single school district, every single subdivision. I think it's very difficult. So just being an expert in your market, expert in your field is very critical. And then you spread out.
Yeah, I think Rafa said it was well. Working in or on the business is a big difference. And if you're a newer agent, sometimes, and I have a newer agent on my team, and I tell her, I said, you be prepared. And to his point exactly, you need, if it's full time, the faucet just doesn't open and turn on. You have to work it, and you have to be prepared for nothing. And just prepare, keep working it and keep working it. And then I call it the snowball effect. Is you get 1, you get 2, and then you slowly expand on that. And so I think working for me in the beginning, to your point too, you're chasing whatever you can to get that first 1, 2, 3 to get that going. And sometimes it's a necessary evil, and you have to do that to gain that. Fake it till you make it. I think Sarah said that too. And then once you start getting the confidence, and then you put that stake in the ground in that area of your expertise, whether that's your own backyard or maybe it's where a town you grew up or whatever it is, keep that and start emphasizing that and grow it from there. So I agree with all those points.
You got to earn your stripes. You got to put in the 10,000 hours. I mean, initially I was running from Schaumburg for a $1,300 lease to Loyola for a $700 studio lease. I did all of that. But then you eventually learn that, maybe there's a better way of doing it as well. But but yeah, understand your market, be focused in the market, and then percentage of your time should be used farming and marketing to other markets. But majority of it should be local first.
I love the term you used, hustle. We're in sales. We're 100%, commission-based sales. So if you're not hustling, no one's going to hustle for you. And that's sometimes hard, especially if you're a newer agent. But there are ways to grind and get your business, and then it'll start happening. I remember I was in my training, Lynn, I think it was Lynn Madison said, work really hard for 3 years, and then you'll reap the benefits. And it was like spot on for me. So if you're out there and you're working hard, just got to be a little bit patient, and hopefully that'll happen too.
I think the other thing too is, if you are fortunate enough to be on a team, that's great, and you have a team. But I think finding a mentor, whether that's your managing broker or someone just in the industry that you can talk to, is great. Like just this panel is fantastic for us who've never really talked to each other to bounce these things off. But to have someone you can sit down with and kind of have coffee and have a go-to to talk about the ups and downs. Because again, like you said, Rafa, we've done it. We've all kind of earned our stripes, and to be able to talk to someone about it is important too.
I do like it that you threw it out there, Rafay, that you did kind of go from place to place. Sometimes, a brand new agent, then they might have like their cousin lives a few cities over, that's not where they live, and they need a deal, right? They need to start getting deals. So in the very beginning, yeah, you're going to kind of be doing that a little bit, but to your point, to then really try to focus with your marketing and your just overall focus in the same place to then grow out from there. Thank you.
Some really awesome answers. Now we're going to move on to our next question, which is, what lead generation methods are getting the best results? Are you always changing it up, or do you have a specific system for leads?
I can take that one. I'm pretty organic, truthfully, with my lead generation system. I do depend a lot on my sphere. I would say the majority of my deals are still sphere related, and then referrals based on that. So kind of to Neil's point, the snowball effect, right? I do allocate a budget at the beginning of the year towards marketing, both print and digital. I am still in the print market, which some people I know have stopped doing, but I'm in marketplaces that I'm seeing results on that. I'm in a marketplace that reads Sheridan Road Magazine. I'm in a marketplace that reads Michigan Avenue. I'm in a marketplace that picks up an issue of Forest and Bluff Magazine. And so to those points, I am still where my market is in print. But I have shifted over the years, definitely more focused on digital, because I know that's where we're all headed. And I would say my main focus on digital is actually social media, which is a great tool. As you know, the reach of it is truly endless, and it's free, right? So anyone can utilize that. So I would say, again, sphere, referrals, marketing, both print and digital. And then I also make it a point, and it's genuinely because I enjoy it, but I do a ton of community involvement too, which has led to a large part of my business very organically. I serve on as president of a nonprofit board in our area. I would say of the last maybe 5 deals I've closed, 4 of those have been a result of those connections and or referrals from that. And it's just a chance for people to see you in a different light, instead of just, putting a promotional out there that says, I'm a realtor, pick me, here's all the reasons why. But it gives you a platform to kind of show your leadership skills, to show your communication skills, to show your sales skills in a different light than that they would normally see. And so there's some attractiveness to them to that point. And when they need a realtor or their mom needs a realtor, you're kind of at the tip of their tongue in that way. And then just also, I would just say time. To Sarah's point, I was given the 3-year mark too. And that's truly, kind of when I saw my business take off. So definitely give yourself the 3-year mark for, leads to kind of come to fruition. And then I just have a motto that just to do something every single day that's going to lead me in a better position tomorrow. So if I can't go to bed every night saying, I did something today that will benefit my business tomorrow, I don't go to bed. So just to make sure I'm a better person tomorrow and my business is in a better place tomorrow.
That is awesome, by the way, Kelly. I got to say that line, did I do something today that'll benefit me tomorrow? I think I'm going to write that down. That is fantastic. One thing that I also believe in is you got to be 1% better than the day before. 3,600% is the incremental value increase.
100%.
It's a good reminder. You always have to, no matter where you stand, you got to keep working it, keep doing it. And it becomes a little bit easier once you have a track record behind you to support that, but you can't just ignore all the things that you've done because you won't continue to grow. And somebody else is behind you that's really working hard and might be getting business if you're not staying on top of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Neil.
I was going to say, I have used Zillow in the past, and I know I've seen mixed results on different Zillow, but I was able to work with a lender who could help split the cost of Zillow. So, the social media is great. The just listed, just sold, the postcards, the farming. There's obviously a million different things that you can do. I think that for me, one of the things that you have to look at what your strengths are, or the sphere, or what you're doing. I have 2 young children, and I've focused on, I like coaching them in their activities and their sports and being involved in their school. And as you said, Kelly, that's the organic part of it. Like you're there being either a coach or a parent, not as the salesperson or as the real estate agent. But guess what? Everybody likes to talk about real estate. So it's just an organic thing. And so when you start doing that, so for those newer agents, if you, maybe you don't have, maybe they're not younger and you don't have kids, that's not an option. Maybe you're older. So what are activities, what groups, or what things can you volunteer in to kind of change that sphere, kind of do something, as you said, give back more? I mean, you're not doing it to always sell things, but I do it to coach my kids. But guess what? The organic effect of that is I'm meeting other people that I normally wouldn't meet. And then when they have a question, I mean, obviously I'm also sponsoring the team. I mean, let's be serious. We're not totally not taking advantage of it. But we're trying to, again, that organic part of it is big, because right now I think people want the personal relationship because it is, they're selling a big part, or they're buying a big thing. So it should be important to get that personal lead.
I'm the same way. I mean, I have a 11, 13, and 15-year-old. So for the first time, my 11-year-old, I'm sponsoring his baseball team, and it's Sara Brahm Real Estate. And I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Every email that goes out comes from Sara Brahm Real Estate. It's like fabulous. And, just get involved. And like you said, if you don't have kids, and you're a photographer, get involved in a photography opportunity or whatever.
Or your local chamber.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, and it becomes more natural. And once it's natural, people will gravitate towards that.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on to the next question. This is a good one right now. It's all about appraisals. Have you seen appraisals being an issue due to the rapid rise in real estate prices? And how are you advising your buyers and sellers regarding the appraisal issue?
Wow. Nothing like going right to the main question about appraisals. I'm out a little bit more northwest. I'm in McHenry County, kind of the edge of Cook, Barrington, Crystal Lake, Cary. I have not seen a lot of appraisal issues, knocking on wood. I have seen some interesting ones. I mean, obviously, a lot of people, or someone said, I think Kelly or Sarah said 100,000 over list price. I saw 30, 40,000 list price. One was 30,000 over, and so I was prepping my sellers, saying, okay, and I forget. I think it was Kelly. Like, if you're listing it, a lot of the times, you're saying, all right, all it has to do is appraise at list price. Anything over, in this market, you're going to say the buyer's going to buyer's going to be responsible for it. But we just, they have to appraise at list price. So if you really put it up high and that list price is really aggressive and you get over that, then you're really kind of extending yourself. So I was prepping my sellers and saying, listen, let's let the market organically go higher. And then we can look at all those offers on the spreadsheet, which Kelly, I agree 100%. Do that spreadsheet and you can see which buyer, they might not be the highest price, but this buyer can afford, has a percentage, not a 2% or a 5% down. They're doing 30, 40, 50% down. So they have the cash to make up that appraisal difference. But I had one, I was hoping it was going to appraise at list price. It appraised at 20,000 over list and we were 30,000 over sold. And then the buyer actually went back and reappraised to get it reappraised and they got the extra 10,000, which I had never seen that. But my concern with it is that eventually all these that are closing with the people coming up with the cash are making up that difference. That will start snowballing. So at some point, I don't know how much, if everyone has this disposable cash, but knock on wood, I haven't seen too many issues as of late out here with appraisals not coming in and not being able to get them to work. And as far as buyers go, I think, again, it all depends on your buyer and their situation. Some buyers don't have the financial ability to make up that difference. But what I tell them is, do you like the house? Yes. Is there any other houses out there? Pretty much no at this point. So make your offer, throw it out there. And if we come to that bridge and your offer is accepted, and if we come to that bridge and it doesn't work out, let's try to, the avenues that we can take are, we can appeal it. We can go to another lender. Like there's other avenues we can take, but let's get to that point, because if this is whatever maybe they need to move, maybe they're renting, maybe they're relocating. If they need to be in a house, let's try and get that. And then, if that situation happens, because it's not guaranteed that it will, but it could, obviously.
Yeah, as a managing broker, a lot of my agents are coming to me right now and saying my clients want to waive the appraisal altogether, or they really want to do a gap. And I think that's fine if that's what they want to do, as long as they really understand what that means. It's just kind of a tough position because you want to have a good position, right, against the other offers. But let's be very careful, right, about just buying it at any price and then seeing what happens in a few years.
I think a lot of sellers also, or listing agents, are getting very savvy, as well as sellers. I think they understand that just the highest price isn't really what's important at this point. And I think listing agents should also share the numbers and the comps very carefully with the sellers. Like, listen, we might get multiple offers. We might get offers really, really higher than this number, but here's some of the issues you might have. Here's a chance, or here's a risk to accepting something 40,000 or 30,000 over list price. When I'm comping it out, I'm taking a very, very strict sort of square mile radius, recent comps. I mean, this is what's selling. Doesn't matter if you're asking $1 million. Doesn't matter if a buyer's going to give you $2 million. If the appraiser's going to come in and say $500,000, that's what's going to go, unless you're willing to cover the difference. Neil, good for you, man. I mean, if you're telling me you're having no issues, that's fantastic. For me, I'm seeing maybe 4 out of 10 appraisal issues right now. Wow. Right now we've got about 140 files, and I would say 4 out of 10 of my deals are having appraisal issues.
Are those more condos or single?
Everything, single family buildings. I mean, Northbrook House. I mean, condos in downtown, building in Portage Park. I mean, across the board, I'm having appraisal issues. So we're fighting them. We're collaborating with the listing agent. We're going back and saying, let's come up with some comps and share with the lenders. And lenders are trying to help us out, and they're on our side. But again, the appraisers, they're not. Yeah. And maybe it's what banks are thinking as well. I'd say the moment there's a pullback, I think a lot of people are going to be in trouble. I do truly think that people are really paying over. The market's inflated. It's really high, much higher than we've seen in many years. And I think the moment there's a little bit of a pullback, anyone who's looking to sell within the next 2 to 3 years, they're going to have a little tough time. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I'm with you. I think 17%, 20% jump in a 12-month period is high, fast, and quick. And, I have that conversation with buyers. Like, I don't know, the market is what it is today. you need a home, but I, just know that you're paying at the top right now. But maybe it'll go another 5% next year. I don't know. Who knew COVID would do this to us?
Right.
Well, that's kind of what we're coming up on 11:55 right now. I can't even believe it. We didn't even get through half the questions. This has been such awesome conversations. But the final question I really wanted to make sure we got out to everybody, because I thought this was kind of a fun idea. You guys, everybody talking about your sphere, you're out on the baseball field with the kids, you're at your organization, you're running things over here. And the biggest question that you get, people just know you're in real estate. So inevitably, the conversation just goes to, hey, how's the market? Or usually right now it's, hey, the market's crazy, right? Are you crazy busy? What's happening? So I kind of thought, especially for our viewers, it would just be really cool to get an answer from each of you, as if, how do you answer that? What is your elevator response right now when you just get asked, off the cuff, hey, how's the market, or what's going on? So anybody that wants to jump in.
I'll start. I'm in the North Shore area. I really stick to that. I live in Wilmette. So Wilmette, Glenview, Winnetka, Kenilworth, Evanston, that whole area. So, I just kind of talk big picture. We're up about 17%. There's very low inventory. If you hear of people looking to sell, let me know. And it's very competitive. I think it's good to know, especially if you're multiple offers, you let people know there are multiples, and they're not only one or two, there are, 8 to 15 we're seeing now. So I think it really is surprising for people to hear. They get little snippets that the market's really hot right now, but it's good to have some more data points. So I always just try to go on InfoSparks or, it's a really easy way to get data, like average list time, average market time, and have those data points for everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm optimistic, but conservative on the market. I had a great Q1. I'll have a fantastic Q2. I'm sure Q3 will be great, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year and going forward. I think a lot of it has to do with interest rates. A lot of the lenders I'm talking to are kind of telling me, advising buyers that I'm sending their way. You might be overpaying for a house right now, but the rate's really low. And moving forward, you could be looking at a higher interest rate, but a lower purchase price. And so if you're kind of netting at the same place, that's kind of a talking point I'm using with a lot of my buyers right now that are asking me, do I buy now? Do I buy later? So I'm still optimistically conservative about the rest of the year. I think as NSBAR agents serving the North Shore and Barrington area, location, right? And in terms of the areas we serve and the number one rule of real estate. And I think we all service areas with top-notch schools and perhaps access to beaches or town amenities or really great lifestyles. And so I think there'll always be an attractiveness to the places we serve, and always will be a sought-after area. And so again, advising buyers, if you're in this for the long term, you're going to reap the benefits. If you're planning on buying a house, you're going to be there 20 years with your kids, you're going to reap those benefits of just the enjoyment of living in that house paired with a payoff at the end. I don't think it's a great market for buyers to just be picking up a property for a year or two. This isn't that market for them. But if you're going to spend some quality time in your home and enjoy it, I still think the area the NSBAR agents serve is a great area, and that it's still a good time to buy or sell.
Yeah, I agree, Kelly. I think one of the things that the challenges that I think we face as agents right now in this super hot market is trying to give that value, because I see it all the time on social media, and it's like, oh, and someone's like, hey, how's the market, man? You're just selling, everything like crazy. Like, well, why do we even need you? That sort of idea. And I think it's important to say right now, in particular, is sure, when you get like 10 offers on your house, let me know how that works when you're sifting through all that stuff. And like the real thing, yeah, like getting a one buyer is a lot different now. Now it's not that, it's getting it through to the end. So I think explaining the market to where it's like, oh, it's great, everything's great, you're selling houses, and people think it's just you're turning on a switch and it's going. I think so. Just making sure that we deliver our value as agents, because I've seen a lot of for sale by owners, and people are going, "Oh, I'm going to try it for sale by owner first, and then I'll call you." And what are you going to say? Good luck. I wish you well. You can give them the information and the stats and Visbos and the value, but I can't blame people for trying in this market. I mean, everyone sees the numbers, and everyone talks to you, says, "Oh, your market's great. It's a seller's market. I'm going to try." So that's my biggest thing when I'm talking about the market, is that I'll tell them, yeah, I'm riding this wave, and to Kelly, to your point, if you're looking for a deal right now, or you're looking to, for a short-term thing, this is probably not, and I'm trying to, and I'd be honest with my buyers, and I'm like, I wouldn't buy now. Like, this is not the time. I mean, I'm not trying to, I obviously want your business and love for you to be in a house, but you're overpaying. Everybody's going to be overpaying right at this market. So.
Yeah. Well, and then piggybacking off Neil, I think the first question should be, what are you looking for? Is this a short term? What's the reason? Is this a 1-year relocation thing? Then rent, right? Is this a long-term thing where you can kind of see yourself like raising your family, sending them to school and this and that? Then it makes sense, because we are seeing at the same time historical low interest rates, 6-decade low interest rate. So in scheme of things, it'll amortize, and you'll still be on top if you're locking in something under 3%. But if this is a 2-year plan or a 3-year plan, then maybe you need to reevaluate certain things. Maybe looking for places that are not so high. Maybe an area which does have more inventory. I also do think that once the moratorium and eviction freezes and all these foreclosure freezes are removed, I think market will stabilize a little bit more. You're kind of holding all the distressed real estate, not allowing people to kind of, be evicted or forcing them to pay rent or mortgage and whatnot. But at the same time, the rates are historical. So it's out of balance. Everything is out of balance. I think once you have the distressed sales, once people are responsible for paying their mortgage, if they're not paying their ramifications for that, then I think things will even out a little bit more. This is maybe off tangent, but you see the cryptocurrency and the Black Friday that just passed. The highest sales we've seen in decades, all in the middle of businesses closing and pandemic. Well, it's people not paying rent, the stimulus checks, this and that. That's what's being injected in the economy. That's why there's such hyperinflation. So I think once things are normalized and stabilized, I think there's going to be a little order and balance, and then we can really gauge what's going to happen. I think my prediction, we're gonna see a massive pullback towards end of this year, beginning next year. Things are going to stabilize, and I think we'll be okay in 2022.
I think the market will stay strong for this year. And then, like you said, we'll see how next year goes.
That's always the way. Let's see how next year goes. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's just been such a great conversation. I enjoy meeting each and every one of you. Maybe we can have some of you back in the future. And thanks to all of our viewers for watching our YPN with NSBAR Top Producers panel.
That's a wrap, and thank you to our many sponsors. We will see you back in the fall. Thank you.